I'm going to go through a few quick slides. I'm Fredrik, by the way, from Dune. Mats, my co-founder, is also here, so you can ask him as well later. So I'm going to go through a few quick slides to give you an overview, and then we'll hopefully spend most of the time with you getting your hands dirty. So what's Dune Analytics? Basically, we have decoded smart contract data. We have a querying interface where you can query the Ethereum data with Postgres. You can then visualize the query results into nice graphs, and then you can share the analysis and explore what other people have been doing. So we'll first take a look at what you can make with this data. Then we'll take a look at the actual data tables. I'll do a live example to give you a feel for how to work with the data. And then it's your turn. We'll spend most of the time on that. You guys creating interesting stuff. So here are some examples. So this one we recently featured in the Token Economy newsletter. So here we have a bunch of DEX metrics. We have the total volume for this year, USD volume for various different DEXs. We have that over time. We see how many trades were done last week and how many traders there were, for instance. So this is one example. Another example, it's the Dutch exchange DAO, where they did a period where you can stake and lock up your funds to participate. So here we have various metrics for how people participated, the different methods, which tokens they used, things like that. Recently, here's also some metrics for 0x retention, for instance. So you can do pretty detailed analysis beyond like simple metrics. So here you can see how many users came in a given week, how many users came back the week after, and the week after that, and so forth. So you can do pretty deep like product analysis here, for instance. So that's some of the examples. So the data itself is mostly Ethereum events and contract calls. We also have USD prices, so you can get the USD volumes of different actions. And we also have the raw Ethereum blockchain in there. So, and of course, just stop me if there's anything that's not clear, any questions. So I'm going to do a quick example, and then we're going to get you guys going. So let's create a new query here. So this is the interface. You can create a user afterwards. So on the left here, we have different smart contract data. So let's search for Uniswap, for instance. You see the project name first, then the contract name, and then whether it's an event or a contract call. So for instance, we have here the Uniswap exchange contract and the event ETH purchase. Here we have the various columns. So if we just select everything from this table here, and let's limit that to 10. So if we get this, you can now see this table here. You see which address was the buyer, how many tokens were sold, how much ETH was bought, and the transaction address. You also here see the address for where this happened. So each market is its own address that you can read in the address field. So all of these have an address field, which tells you which address was, like which smart contract this is. So we have this. So now we can look at, for instance, how much ETH has been bought on Uniswap. So then you just sum ETH, you divide it by power of 18, and we do it like this. Gives you all the ETH bought on Uniswap. So remember that on Uniswap you can both buy ETH or token. So if you combine these two events, you get the total ETH volume on Uniswap, for instance. So That's just summing these things is extremely easy queries, obviously. Then we can make it a little more interesting and say we want to do this over time. So what you typically do then is you use the raw Ethereum data. So we have the transactions table, which is all the Ethereum transactions. So if we want to get the time component into this this data, we can do with let's call it transactions as, and we select. We take the transaction hash, we take the block time, and we take that from the Ethereum transactions table. And to avoid there being a lot of data here, we want to limit the time. So let's say we call this one transactions, and we say, I don't need to do that. We say where block time is bigger than the last 7 days. So interval of 7 days. So now we should have the blocks from the transactions from the last 7 days, and then we join this with the Uniswap event. So here we take join this on transaction hash. So we take the transaction hash on we take the transaction table here, and we get the hash. So and then we want to have, so this is a neat function where you use the date trunk. We want to have the day, and we take that from transaction table and the block time. So with this, then we group that by day, the first one here. And if I'm not mistaken, this should work. Didn't, it never does. On the first hit, let's see here. Any solutions? I didn't specify what?
TX. In your drawing, TX.
Oh yeah, I only, TX. Oops. On. This maybe. See. Yes. So now we have and let's order this as well. So now we have how the ETH volume per day the last 7 days on the ETH bought side of Uniswap. So this is a nice little table here. Then we can do visualization of this. So you can do different types. Let's do a bar chart. We want to have the date as the X column, and then sum as the Y column. And here we have this visualized. And now we can also say we want to get the user number. So if we go in again, back into this table, we used ETH purchase. We see there's a buyer field here. So let's also count distinct buyer here and see if we get that number as well. So that would be basically unique users. And we look at the table we got here. Now we have that as well. So then we can add that to our visualization. We want also to do the number of users here. And then we can, for instance, split the axis. Oops, and let's see if we can do, let's do it the other way around. So we do one bar and one line chart. And here you now have On the left-hand side, you have the amount of ETH that was traded in that day, and on the right-hand side, you have the unique addresses. So you can save that, and now what you can do, you can save this. So let's say ETH buying on Uniswap. And now you can also create a dashboard. So Uniswap fund, let's call it that. And then you can add your query. You can use the chart you made. And then this is a dashboard. You can add thousands of other things, so you can find what other people are doing as well. So let's say we want to add unique centers of DAI to this dashboard. You can do that as well. So you can pick and choose different things that people have done. And then you can save that, and you can publish it, and then you can go ahead and share it with people. So that's a very quick run-through of how it works. And obviously, we have a bunch of other data as well. So if you just browse or search for different projects here, you will find loads of more data. A few tricks that's all right to keep in mind. You almost always want to divide by 1 to the power of 18. A nice thing to do is to join the transaction hash, the event table, and the transaction table to get the time component. You need to format, if you want to filter on an address, you format like this. So you just replace the 0 with a backslash. Other neat thing you could do is group by token if you want to do token amounts. Now we're going to spend the next 45 minutes letting you guys play around with this. So you can go to duneanalytics.com. You will see the exact same thing that I showed you now. And you can do queries, create visualizations, and go ahead and share them afterwards. We have some ideas for things you might want to look into. So we recently decoded the Moloch DAO data. We've put up the gas station network data, and we've put up some AirSwap data, which could be fun, but you decide. There are obviously more sophisticated things you can do, but we think maybe the most fun thing is to get to something that's somewhat useful within the time we have now. So maybe just count users over time, take the ETH amount over time. If you feel like you are not challenged enough, you can get the USD price, ask us, and we can help you multiply the on-chain volumes with the USD market price over time. You can look at like distribution across users. So if you group amounts sent by users, you can see who are the most active users or who has the most volume, for instance. So, that's all I plan to say. If there are any questions, please go ahead right now, or we're of course going to hang around and help you guys.
Do you have a
Yeah, sure.
specific API for that?
No, so you have to use it through the interface. So that's how it's exposed. Yeah.
Are those tiles also embeddable?
What?
Are the tiles also embeddable?
Yeah. So you can.
And then second question
Mm-hmm.
is, I saw that your current pricing model is not like kind of defined.
Yeah.
So I was curious, what are some of the plans that you think might happen with that?
Like the pricing plans?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that basically depends. So we have the free open interface that you can use, and we're happy to talk if you're interested in having the direct data access.
Okay.
Yeah.
But no defined plan for the future.
Plan for the, what do you mean plan? Like?
Basically like a freemium model where it's like, let's say these features are for free users, but these features are for not, or let's say this much per month for the amount.
Oh yeah, we don't have like clear specifics on that right now. No.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, clear enough? Also, just ask if you want ideas for what to work on.